Why are more and more Americans choosing to raise dogs instead of having children? It sounds irrational, doesn't it? But the data tells a different story. The number of households with pets has already surpassed those with children. A child is not just love. It's 18 years of responsibility, financial pressure, expectations, and sleepless nights. But a dog? It doesn't need to succeed. It doesn't need to meet expectations. It will never make you feel like you're not enough. It simply exists and makes you feel loved. In many wealthy neighborhoods, pet services are more luxurious and more carefully designed than services for humans. But here's the part that matters. Maybe this isn't just a choice, it's an adaptation. In a world where time is compressed, connection is fragile, and pressure is the default, people are no longer searching for responsibility. They are searching for something easier to control, more predictable, and most importantly, something that makes them feel okay immediately. And if you think this is just a story about pets, then you may have already missed what this is really about. You think you are in control of your life. Every morning you wake up, look in the mirror, and believe that you are the author of your own story. You know what you like, you know what you hate. You believe your emotions belong entirely to you. But there is a problem, an invisible flaw, in the way you understand yourself. Most of what you call choices may have never truly started with you. Let's start with something very familiar: pets. You love them, you hold them, you take care of them, you give them your time, your money, and your emotions. If someone asked you why, your answer would be simple: because they are cute, because they are loyal, because they make you feel less alone. That sounds reasonable, but pause for a moment. On Earth, there are approximately 8.7 million species. Millions of life forms that have evolved over billions of years to survive in the harshest environments imaginable. So, why is it that only a few species are allowed to walk directly into your home, to bypass your natural defenses, to sleep beside you when you are most vulnerable, and to become something you can hardly replace? Now, let's look at a real story. I am an American man, born and raised in one of the most developed societies in the world. I had a job, I had income, I had a life that many people would dream of. But beneath the surface, there was a very different reality. Long-term work pressure, high cost of living, and a schedule with almost no breathing room. Most of my time was spent maintaining life, not living it. And then one day, I decided to leave, not to escape, but to experience a different way of living. I came to Vietnam for the first time, and everything started to change. The difference is not just about money. Yes, the cost of living is lower, that's true. But that's not the most important part. The biggest change is how people use their time here. They work to live, not live just to work. They spend time eating, connecting, moving, building relationships, and simply existing comfortably. There is no constant pressure to keep running, no feeling that if you stop, everything will fall apart. The people here are incredibly friendly. You can be a complete stranger walking down the street and still receive a smile or a wave. Sometimes, as you pass by a local gathering, people you've never met will invite you in. Hey, come have a drink with us, relax. Now back to pets. Why are they so popular in societies considered highly developed? It's not random. When people live in an environment of constant busyness, lack of connection, lack of emotional security, they begin searching for something to fill that gap. And pets do that perfectly. A dog doesn't care how much you earn. A cat doesn't judge you for your mistakes. They don't demand that you become better. They simply exist, present, stable, predictable. But if you look closer, this is not just affection. This is a feedback system. When you are stressed, then you go to them. When you are sad, then they come to you. When you are lonely, then they fill the space. Your body responds. Your heart rate slows. Stress decreases. Comfort increases. A loop is formed. You are not wrong to love them, but it may not be entirely accurate to believe that it is only love. Chapter 6, and this is where the real question begins. If a part of your life constantly pushes you to seek relief, and another being provides that relief perfectly, then what is this relationship, really? Are you taking care of them, Or are you both, sustaining a shared system? Chapter 7. We often think the problem is money. But in reality, the bigger issue is time. When you only have a small amount of free time, you prioritize what gives you immediate emotional return. Pets are one of the fastest and most reliable sources of that feeling. No complex effort, no negotiation, no fear of rejection. You just have to be there. So, the question is no longer, how much do you love your pets? But rather, in a system where your emotions, your time, and your behaviors are constantly being shaped, who is controlling who? If you think this is just a story about pets, you've misunderstood from the very beginning. This is a story about you. You think you chose your pet. You think you walked into that shelter, looked into those eyes, and felt a connection. You told yourself they were cute, or loyal, or low maintenance. But psychology tells a much darker story. Your choice wasn't an act of love, it was an act of reflection. Your pet is a biological mirror, exposing the parts of your personality you try to hide from the world, and often from yourself. There is one specific pet that almost always belongs to people with the highest levels of emotional control. And there is another that reveals a desperate, hidden need for validation that you would never admit in public. Today, we go beyond the cute. We are going to dissect your soul through the animal living in your house. Welcome to Episode 6, The Mirror in the Living Room. The cat. Let's start with the feline. A cat doesn't need you. At least, it spends 23 hours a day making sure you believe that. If you own a cat, you likely pride yourself on your independence. You tell people you hate clingy energy. You value your space. You value boundaries. But here's the twist. Psychological studies suggest that cat owners don't choose cats because they are independent. They choose cats because they are mirrors of their own emotional gatekeeping. You aren't cold, you feel deeply, but you only allow emotion to surface when you decide the environment is safe. You relate to the cat because you, too, have built a wall. You don't want a pet you can control. You want a pet that proves you can be loved without having to surrender your power. The dog. Now, look at the dog owner. The dog is the ultimate yes man. It is a biological machine programmed to treat you like a god, regardless of whether you deserve it. If you are a dog person, you are likely warm, extroverted, and easy to connect with. You are the glue of your social circle. But let's peel back the layer. Why do you need a creature to wait by the door for 6 hours just to see you? Why do you need that explosive, unfiltered joy every time you walk into a room? It's because, deep down, you are addicted to validation. In a world of complex, judgmental human relationships, the dog is the only place where you feel enough. You don't just love the dog. You love the way the dog makes you feel about yourself. Your pet isn't just a companion. It's an emotional life support system for your self-esteem. The hamster and the rabbit. Then there are the small mammals, the ones that live in cages, the ones that run on wheels. If you are drawn to hamsters, you are likely someone who finds profound comfort in routine. You don't like surprises. You don't like chaos. You find safety in the loop. But there is a sadness here. The hamster runs on a wheel that goes nowhere. It lives a life of repetitive motion within 4 walls. Psychologists suggest that people who choose these pets are often people who feel stuck in their own lives, but are too afraid of the great unknown to stop running the wheel. You find peace in their cage because, subconsciously, it justifies your own. The reptile and the spider. You don't keep a snake or a tarantula if you're looking for a hug. These animals don't feel affection. They don't recognize your face. They are cold, efficient, and prehistoric. If you own a reptile, you are likely a person of high logic and extreme emotional detachment. You aren't edgy, you are an observer. You find beauty in things others find terrifying because you are fascinated by the mechanics of life, not the emotions of it. You don't want a pet that loves you. You want a pet that proves you can master the uncontrollable. You thrive in the distance. The bird and the fish. The bird owner is a walking contradiction. You love the sound of song and the idea of flight. You value freedom above all else, and yet you keep that freedom in a cage. This reflects a deep human conflict, the desire to possess beauty versus the desire to let it be free. If you own a bird, you likely struggle with control in your personal relationships. You want to be close to vibrant things, but you are terrified they will fly away if you don't lock the door. And the fish? The fish owner is the ultimate observer. You want the beauty of nature without the drama of interaction. No barking, no scratching, no emotional demands. You want to see the world through glass. You are the person at the party who stands in the corner, watching everyone, but never stepping onto the dance floor. You are safe, you are clean, and you are profoundly alone. None of these choices are better or worse. They are just maps. Your pet is a living, breathing defense mechanism. You chose the dog because you're afraid of being ignored. You chose the cat because you're afraid of being smothered. You chose the snake because you're afraid of being vulnerable. The question isn't, what kind of animal do I like? The question is, what kind of protection have I built around my heart? We spend our lives surrounded by these mirrors. We think we are the masters of our environment, choosing the colors, the furniture, and the animals. But as we saw, the environment is always talking back. If your pet is a mirror of your soul, and your house is a biological loop of your stress, then what happens when the mirrors start to break? What happens when the system we built to protect us starts to suffocate us? We go deeper. We leave the living room and head into the dark. We are going to talk about the uninvited guests, the things living in your walls that you didn't choose, and what they reveal about the parts of your life you've completely lost control of. Subscribe, because you're about to find out that you're never truly alone in your own house.